So I wanted to talk today about traditional love affairs and why they seem to have kind of been pushed to the wayside. It's just seeming like a lot of people aren't really trying to get too involved anymore with relationships because so many things are going wrong with them. First, I want to talk about a major thing that I think is a problem within our society. And I think the number one thing is what this is our mouth, what we say. What we say can and will be held against us in the life we live. What we say can and will be the turmoil of the love affairs we want so bad. And the problem is, we're not talking about what we're saying and how it is really impacting our relationships. It is. It's really causing for a lot of distress, a lot of misconduct, and unfortunately, a lot of unfortunate situations are happening. Um, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Coach Carla Nicole, and my mere mission is to make sure that relationships get back in 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 better standing, and we can have better love affairs that last longer than just a couple of years. Um, to be honest with you, I was raised in a traditional home. You know, mother and father stayed married till they left, um, and transitioned. But the truth of the matter is, it's not going to be, unfortunately, our story based upon what I'm seeing in our current state in society. A lot of relationships aren't lasting. A lot of relationships aren't even in a good, you know, standing or even being decent to each other. Hey, love. People just aren't being decent to each other, and I think we need to get back to, fixing some things. Can we talk about this, or is this going to be, hey, Katrina, can we talk about this? Because I'm thinking that we want relationships that are going to be desirable, but we don't want to talk about the truth is we're not looking too good right now. So let's talk about some things, shall we? I'm great. I just want to see some things get a little bit better in our love affairs. Okay, so let's talk about tradition. In our past, see, I'm a 70s baby, so I can talk from experience and I can talk about from what I've seen. And when I was raised in when I was little, I saw relationships, I saw marriages, I saw families, I saw care, I saw appreciation, I saw laughter, I saw happiness, I saw, when someone passed on, I saw families get together and give a damn about each other. I saw it all. I came from a very wholesome family, period. And so I can speak from experience that we are losing a lot of what I saw from when I was growing up. Now, I can also say I'm in a time capsule because a lot of times what I'm coaching to isn't really what I'm seeing, unfortunately. So let's get back to that, shall we? Okay, so let's talk about this. So, when I was young, I saw fathers coming home, taking care of their children. I saw children playing with cousins. I'm talking about, we just had a good time. We would go to family gatherings, we would have cookouts, we would spend time together. If there was a problem in the family, we would all get together and we would sit down and have family meetings. We would talk about things that needed fixed in the family. We would talk about stuff that we needed to fix as far as how can we repair some things even with one family member's health. We would all get together, have a family meeting, talk about it. How can we fix it? What can we do with the children? This one's got this many kids. Who's going to watch the kids? And who's got this? Who's got that? We would sit down and get together as a family, as a team. And that's not happening anymore. Unfortunately, because I've come from this, it's harder for me not to just be okay with just the nonsense. I'm not going to. I'm going to say and speak to this as being nonsense. It's unacceptable. However, the code of conducts in families has faltered. We don't have the family conversations anymore. We're not having the family meetings. We're not talking to each other. We're not caring about our fathers anymore. I'm like, if I could have one more day with my dad, I would give up everything. But we don't even respect fathers anymore. We're just husbands and wives can't get along. We're just disrespectful. It's like, what is this? Absolutely unacceptable behaviors. However, we all want love. We all want a relationship. We all want something to be something we can hold on to and be proud of. But we can't do it until we get back to basics. So, who wants to be over here with me, with your coach? Who wants to learn about getting back to the basics? Can we get back to the basics? Number one, I don't know who's willing to do this with me, but who's willing to stop using the word divorce? Who's willing to stop using that word? It's a toxin. The word divorce is a toxin. It's a poison. I hear that word almost daily. When I was young, I didn't hear that word. Divorce was unheard of. Divorce? Excuse me? That wasn't a default conversation. We didn't talk about divorce in my family. Matter of fact, many of my family stayed married till death did them part for real. So again, I think our problem is we're doing too much conversating about the word divorce. Get rid of it. The word divorce is poison. It is. It's a poisonous word, and we need to stop saying it. I can speak to it because I came from it. I came from a family that is still tight-knit till this day. My family don't play. When it comes to, like I said, someone in the family sick or somebody needs something or whatever, we have family meetings. We take care of each other. Family first, always has been. But in society, we lost this. We don't have this anymore. We need to change it. We can. It's just going to take some devotion, commitment to change it. But first, before you can change your family, you have to first change you. Stop watching people talk about divorce. It's a toxin. Stop talking about the word divorce. Stop shaping and molding your whole conversation and your girlfriend's conversation and everybody talking about it is a toxin. This is why relationships aren't lasting. Because nobody wants to talk about healthy relationships. Nobody wants to gather around and talk about how great it is to be in good standing in love. Nobody wants to talk about that. But we will talk about, did you know that Sarah's husband cheated on her? We'll talk about that. But nobody talks about those relationships in good standing, but yet we want love affairs. It doesn't make sense. We're going against what we say we want. We go against it and we just keep doing it. And we're not thinking, oh, maybe I need to change some things. Yes, you do. And the first thing you need to change is what you're talking about. What you're talking about and what you're thinking about in here has the most impact on what you're dealing with in your home, in your bedroom, in your love affairs, in your parenting, in your family affairs. All of that happens with this first, and then this is next. You see what I'm telling you? What I'm telling you, you can change today. You can get off this live right now and completely, totally change how you see things in here, change what you're talking about, and you can change what you experience. Everything we think about, we continue to invite in our life. It's facts. If I talk about all the miserable stuff going on outside and I allow it to come in here in my mind and I start talking about it, I'm going to have it experienced. I'm going to have it experienced. It's just what it is. Period. Traditional love affairs worked because there was a family dynamic. There was, number one, there was a code of conduct. I couldn't just go and slap my mother, curse my father, disrespect. I couldn't do it. It wasn't even something that I was even in desire to do. Even when I would be at the angriest with either parent, I knew that that was not an option. But I'm seeing kids disrespecting their parents and doing all kinds of unforgivable things. And it's like, how did we get here? How does this happen? Well, it happens because we're not open and honest with the fact that we don't have code of conduct clear in our family. Our families aren't clear, crystal clear on what's acceptable and what's not. If I disrespected my father, not only would I have to deal with my father, but my grandfather, my uncles, I would have had to deal with a multitude of things, not just one parent. Because my parent was in a team of family. So I couldn't just do what I wanted to do. That was unacceptable. I couldn't just slap a cousin, disrespect them, curse them, call them out of their names. I couldn't do those kind of things. But now you're seeing all kinds of misconduct, and people go on here and they share and they talk about it, and all of those things is acceptable. But that's because we're allowing it. We want real love affairs to last a long time. I have clients all the time saying, Coach, I really want a good solid relationship. I really want this. I really want that. And I'm like, I understand what you want, but you have to make some changes first. The first change is how you are conducting your self-love. I mean, you do realize you have to love you first, right? You do realize you have to love you first, right? You do realize that not only do you have to love yourself, you also have to make sure that when you are loving yourself, you are also paying attention to wanting to know what your purpose is, why you're here. Why are you in existence? This is a part of loving you. You want a love affair, you want someone to be there full time, you want a relationship and all of those things. However, you're not paying attention to the fact that how you treat you is key on how you'll treat someone else. This is facts, period. You can't just treat yourself any old kind of way and be nasty to yourself and treat yourself disrespectfully and then expect that someone you're in love with is going to treat you with regard. That's not going to happen. You have to take care of you first, okay? And then you have to change how you talk and what you think. You have to change your diet, what you're allowing in your mind. You want a solid relationship, but all you keep watching are all of those shows that are just outrageous. You see women just disrespectful, nasty to their men, acting a fool, drinking and drugging and all kinds of stuff, and you think that's healthy for your mind? It's not. You have to change your mental diet. That has to happen first. And then you have to stop talking about everybody else's negative business. Everything going on outside of you and everything you're allowing around in your space that is negative, you should let it go. It's not healthy. Nor is it going to be actually good long term for what you're trying to accomplish. You want a love affair that's going to last, but yet you're not making sure that you are around people that know how to treat not their lover well, but themselves well. Because when they know how to treat themselves well, they treat their by default, their way they treat their lovers is upstanding. That's just what it is. Self-love is key first. Period. It's just what it is. But a lot of times, this isn't sexy. This isn't what people want to listen to. People want to hear about the nonsense. They want to hear about the griping and cussing and how much somebody got in a divorce settlement. They don't want to talk about what it takes to get a relationship that's going to matter for them long term. But you say you want a love affair. That doesn't make any sense. Let me tell you something. Here's the truth. Our code of conduct, how we actually treat other people, really matters long term. When you have a family that treats each other well, and you end up getting involved with another person that's got that same family background, 9 times out of 10, you have a very good chance that your relationship and your love affair is going to be more harmonious. Why? Because you already know and have already been raised traditionally to treat each other well. Not just because of who you are as a person, but because environmentally, when you were raised under what? Functionality, harmonious love, care, appreciation, consideration. All of those things were in place when you were raised. When you're raised in a traditional love, you understand certain things are just of the norm to you. However, where we're going wrong is when we're choosing lovers when we get involved in love affairs, we're not paying attention to what the lover that we have come to be in awe of or want to be with has come from. And so, without having a traditional understanding or understanding the code of conduct, a lot of times we're getting involved with people that completely know nothing about what we know about. And so now we're sitting here like, oh, I thought you knew that we don't do that here. We don't cuss each other out. We don't disrespect each other. We don't slap each other in the face. That's unacceptable. Okay, but the problem is if they don't come from it, they don't know that. And now you've actually invited in someone that's completely not the same as you. And now you're feeling some type of way because you want a relationship so bad. We are losing our understanding of code of conduct. We also are losing family values. Without traditional values, we don't understand each other. We lose sight of what each other's needs are because we don't have a common understanding with family values. Family values are so important. If you don't have family values, you don't understand each other. When there's misunderstanding, then there's misconduct. When there's misconduct, there's going to be all kinds of back and forth and disrespect. And now, when you have the disrespect, you find yourself upset, and then you are finding yourself separated, divorced, over, because there's not a commonality here. In order to get back to understanding what traditions do and mean for love affairs, we have to go back to looking at how traditions worked. Traditions worked because it was understanding. There were certain protocols, codes of conducts, understandings. We had actually understanding without having to sit down and talk about it because we come from it. But when we don't come from the same tradition, when we don't come from the same mindset, when we don't come from the same understanding, what happens is we get a lot of confusion, and then we start to barter back and forth on what we think is normal. It's like going into a relationship and you don't know each other's language, you don't know each other's ways, traditions, you don't know any of that. And you want to go and say we're going to be together forever till death do us part, and have absolutely no clue as to what we are and how we're going to conduct ourselves, how we're going to raise the kids, how we're going to have a morale, how we're going to relate to each other, how we're going to decide how we're going to do the money, how we're going to have all these things. You're not going to talk about it because you're not coming from that. And when you have this confusion, this is why so many relationships falter and they end up getting violent. They end up getting vicious to each other, and they end up ending because there's no more understanding, because we have spent so much time just dismissing the importance of having a clear understanding of what we will allow in our love affair and what we won't. There's a lot of gray area here. When you don't come from it, you don't understand it. We don't do enough studying. We don't do enough studying. We don't study enough with the lovers we're wanting to be with. Not necessarily studying them, but we don't study our own way of how we were raised, where we come from, how things worked. Do you really know how it worked? Or did you just go through the motions and not pay attention to the fact that some of your traditional ways and what you did was what it was because of how your family was formed, designed? See, I came from a family that all of my uncles and grandfather and aunts and grandmother and all them, they had a code of conduct. Women cared about the father. Women cared about the husband. There was no back and forth. There was no disrespect. We didn't have that in there. So when I came into dating and getting married and all of those things, I started to realize, well, wait a minute. You guys just disrespect the husband? What is this? I don't know what this is. You don't honor thy father? What is this? I'm sorry, I'm confused. I don't understand what this is. What is this? Where is this coming from? Oh, you guys don't have the code of conduct already established. Oh, brother. How are we going to get to a better state of being? Well, traditions have to now be redefined. We got to go back to family meetings. Family meetings are important. Talk to each other about what's going on. How do we feel about some things? Culturally, financially, psychologically, how's the health? Is there anything that, we need from each other? Are we feeling loved here in our family? We're losing that. And so when we're losing the basics, which is just checking in on family members, how are we going to be very present within our confines of our love affairs? We want love, but we don't even really stay, attuned at checking in on our family members. We're not doing well. And we've lost it over time. And like I say all the time, I've come from a different type of family, so I understand it's not common. But some things need to be reestablished. We need to go back to these traditional ways and values. Because when we had traditional values, we ended up finding ourselves more harmonious. We had more connectivity. You're more connected to your family when you feel more energy that you are inviting within the confines of that relationship. When we're constantly staying in touch and looking out and checking in, you start to realize, man, I'm really, my family is my backing. But when you don't have that and you go through some challenges in your love affair, guess what? You don't have anybody to talk to that's going to give you any real reason or any real outlook that really cares about not just you, but both of you and both of you together. So again, you are out here uncovered because you don't have the family backing that you would have if you would realize the power of tradition. We're losing it. And we're losing it by the droves. We don't have solid love affairs because everybody else is always this and always that. And we wish we had this and we wish we had that, but you're not going back to the basics. Are you? There's some benefits to tradition. I'm not saying it's perfect by any means. But what I am seeing is so many people are feeling very unmoved by trying to connect back to building a relationship anymore. For what? Everybody's talking about divorce. What they get, the settlements. It's like, I didn't hear that word when I was young. Man, the marketing for divorce out here is amazing. Y'all are killing the game. Because at the end of the day, that conversation wasn't even being had. We weren't talking about divorce. We weren't. Divorce wasn't even a conversation. But now that's all people talk about. It's like, well, how are we supposed to connect if all we're talking about is divorce? Wow. We really lost a lot. When the elders left and tradition started to get, pushed to the wayside or just basically ridiculed for its boundaries and the rules and the strictness of them, now we just got wild. Now we're just more concerned about, well, what can we get? Now we're so caught up on, a man and how much money he's making. What what's his pay grade? He's not getting any time with me unless he's making this. I'm like, really? This is where we're at now? You're giving men your time based upon his pay grade? Do you know that man will lose his money? Not today. I'm sorry, not tomorrow, today. And you're going to just be done with him? That doesn't make any sense. But everybody's so overly consumed about the money, not realizing that it's the values that matter. It's the care. It's the commitment that matters. But of course, like I said, nobody wants to talk about that. Because that means that, oh, here we go with that tradition or whatever. Yeah, but you can't just rid of it. Because now that we don't have it, look at what we have. Madness out here. Just just outrageous. We've got to get back to the basics. Simplify. Learn about what it is you desire and what you want. And stop getting so caught up in what everybody else is talking about. Stop allowing your mind to be penetrated by what someone else is saying about all the madness about this and that.